Hey, everybody. Welcome to Liquid Lunch. Hi. Thanks, everybody. Good crowd here tonight. Thanks for coming down. I'm Hugh. Dennis is here. It's Crypto Bay. We're going to probably change the name, right, Dennis?
Probably. Well,
we're thinking about it.
Yeah.
But for now, it's Crypto Bay, and we're here at that channel. And we're talking about, it's been a big week. Big news this week, right, Dennis?
Yeah, we have a sponsor today. Now I don't have to pay for pizza out of my pocket.
Yeah.
That's great. And the sponsor is Canadian exchange. It's a new exchange from Alberta. It's called Index.
And it's a great timing for crypto exchanges in Canada.
Yeah, and yeah, that's kind of a great meetup. So we're talking about centralized exchanges. This was planned a few weeks in advance, and have interesting news about Quadriga. Everyone, do you guys heard the news? What's happening? It's all over the news. Even the Globe and Mail writes about this.
And by the way, we have the mic, do we, Dee? Yeah. So if people want to participate in the conversation, just put your hand up, please, and Dee will bring the mic over. You're not on camera, so you don't have to worry about that. But
you won't be heard without the mic, so just let me know and I'll run.
Yeah, because we'd love to have you participate in the conversation. So
yeah, so the Index, NDAX.io. So they promised the fastest move of fiat. It's like zero fees when you fund the exchange. It's quite rare, and it takes only 1 to 2 days. This is what they say. The same goes for withdrawals, though it has some fees, which are low in comparison to other exchanges. But I will be talking about that later. Yeah, just check them out. The link's gonna be in the YouTube video and that Telegram channel and Meetup. Like, you can find it everywhere. And maybe we'll bring those guys for an interview.
That'd be great.
In the next.
Do they have to come all the way from Alberta?
I don't know.
Or do they have people in Toronto?
They don't have people in Toronto. Maybe it's.
We can do Skype if we have to.
It's technology, man.
We're fully equipped.
Blockchain.
Well, maybe not fully equipped.
Yeah, so guys, today we're going to be talking about the centralized exchanges, and I would like to hear about your experiences. Obviously, I cannot check all of them. I don't know a lot. I could do the research I did on some of the exchanges, but I would like to hear your personal experiences with centralized exchanges. So if you want to talk, you just grab the mic.
Yeah, anybody have some experience with a centralized exchange they'd like to share?
Oh, yeah. Well, would you like to step up to the plate?
We have someone in the back as well, Dee.
Okay, cool.
In 2016, I wanted to bring some Russian money, and I found Quadriga, and I opened up a Quadriga account, and I asked questions, and I did not get good answers to the questions, and I became suspicious, and I canceled my account. And another person, a lot of us know here, Sedgwick Hill, about the same time, late 2016, he too opened up a Quadriga account and was unhappy with the responses and the answers or lack of answers to questions. So right off the bat, 2.5 years ago, two people who are sharp actually saw that Quadriga had question marks in its business practices, and they now came through. And anyone who would be self-centered enough to have the whole company's $250 million in his head on his laptop and not knowing that he might just die. You know, my experience in doing development is my partner and I never got on the same plane together. And you get keyman insurance. And Quadriga, one guy had everything, and it's now gone. And his disease, Crohn's disease, you don't just die from Crohn's disease. It's a long-lasting thing. So I think he was murdered.
You don't die in India, I would say, yeah?
Pardon?
You don't just die in India. You go there for vacation and die.
Yeah.
I think we have someone in the back there. Yeah, Crohn's disease.
Obviously, that's a sad news for the guy and for.
I mean, we don't. Do we know
exchange.
if? I mean, there's been a lot of speculation about if he's.
Well, on Reddit, someone posted it, the post that they found that Litecoin cold storage addresses of Quadriga and the coins were moving. I don't know if it's true or not. So.
Yeah, did you want to say what you
Yeah,
heard? Well, we got someone in the back here for now.
I too have a history with Quadriga. I opened the account about 2 years ago. That's how I got into crypto. In 2017, actually, Quadriga did pretty good. I mean, it worked the way it's advertised. I did get my money in instantly. I got my money out within the time frame advertised, so I did not really have any complaints. Of course, I did not leave my coins on the exchange. I only sent money in, I did my trades, and then pulled the coins out. Or if I was selling coins, I would sell them and then pull the cash out according to their system. But about a year ago, I realized that withdrawals were taking longer than advertised, and at that time it was attributed to the problems with the Canadian banking. But now I'm actually speculating that it probably was what they've been saying lately.
Are you talking about the fiat withdrawals or crypto?
I'm talking about fiat withdrawals, sorry. I never had any problems with coin withdrawals, but I have not done anything with them for about 6 months. And the reason for that is because the last time I wanted to do a fiat withdrawal, after a very long delay, they actually I told them to put the money back, and then I bought Bitcoin. I sent the Bitcoin over to local Bitcoins, and I used local Bitcoins to get fiat out of my crypto. They actually sent me a check from a local credit union. That was the last withdrawal. But the good thing is I never had to find out whether the check was NSF or not, because they also gave me my money back, so I just kept the check as a souvenir. But I believe that at that time things probably were not going as well, and I guess now we're getting the explanation. Now, when they announced I don't know whether his death was announced to the media on the day he died. I never heard of it. Maybe I missed the news. But I do remember being around during BRIAX in 1996 when the chief engineer fell from the helicopter and everyone was wondering if it's a fake death. I don't know if this is or isn't. I don't know whether they found his body or not. Who knows? Maybe it would be a good idea if someone can find it and show it, and then we know that this was a real death. Anyways, that's my 2 cents on Quadriga. I do have experience with other centralized exchanges as well. I never had any problems with any others, but they were all crypto to crypto. I have not yet found a satisfactory way to buy Bitcoin from your bank account. The only one that seems to work well is Coinbase, except that every time you buy $50 worth of something, it generates a transaction from your bank account, and you don't want a whole bunch of small debits from your bank account. It just doesn't look good to the bank anyways. or to myself.
I thought Coinbase doesn't work with Canadian banks anymore.
Coinbase works to buy coins. It does not work to sell. You don't get your fiat back, but you can buy coins. It works perfectly. It is instant, exactly as advertised, and the money comes out of your bank account instantly, as advertised. As long as the banks are willing to not block it, and so far none of mine have been blocked, although once I got a phone call from the fraud department saying, is this real? Did you really do this? And I said yes, and then they let it go. But yes, you can buy Bitcoin with Coinbase, and so far this is the one that works the best if you want to buy small amounts.
But do you mean the bank account or the debit card?
You need a debit card with a Visa or MasterCard branding, which almost all of them are, and that is linked to your bank account. And I see the money out of my bank account within seconds, so it actually works the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And as long as the banks don't object, you can do this as long as you want. Now, once you buy your crypto, if you ever want to sell your crypto, the only way I know that works well is local Bitcoins. And yes, you lose like 3 or 4%, but if you do $1,000 at a time or more, it's part of the cost of business, right? I don't know a better way to do it. I even looked into Coinsquare. They have funding options and withdrawal options, and all of them are either expensive or take too long. So if I have to pay a fee to get my money out, I'd rather get it instantly than waiting days or weeks. But
My first experience with a centralized exchange really cost me a lot of money. So I wanted to buy X amount of Bitcoins in January of 2017, which most people here know was a good goddamn time to buy Bitcoin for the first time. And I actually did end up buying some, like, whatever, a tenth, no, whatever it was, a percentage. It's called Easy BTC. To this date, I've never heard one person mention it in any meetup. It's out of Vancouver. They were a new exchange. A friend of mine had just blown my mind and told me about the space at work. And so I was like, okay, I believe in this. It's a leap of faith. It's volatile. I'm going to buy some Bitcoins. So I open an account, and you do the thing with the KYC, with the driver's license and a 10-second video, which is already, what the hell am I doing at my office like a freak. And so I did that. Then it's just such a sketchy world, right? Because it's centralized, but it's almost like decentralized, these guys. You couldn't get a hold of them. They had these weird email addresses. I'm asking them why no coins have sold in the last 2 hours. Like, the liquidity was like crazy. And so I did send them some money just to prove the route in the process. But then you Google their address, and it comes up as a plumbing supply shop in Vancouver. And I asked them about it, and they said, well, we're a virtual office and environmentally... Okay, I get all that, but you shouldn't be matched to a plumbing supply shop, which they had no answer to that.
Maybe they did plumbing on the side. They just didn't want you to know it.
Well, at least
Then he
they
emailed me
replied,
back, and he goes, Bitcoin's going to take off. We have unlimited Bitcoin. Okay, like I didn't know that was a stupid thing to say at the time, but they have unlimited Bitcoin. And so I didn't buy Bitcoin until like 6 months later, and we all know where the price went. And there you go, centralized exchange.
So what happened to those guys? Are they still around, you know? Or you never heard of them
Probably,
again?
I don't know. With the way the market went in 2017, it would be hard to screw that up. I mean,
Yeah.
and then he found out I worked in film and television, I think. And they're just randomly, late at night, he sent me an email saying, can you tell me why all Canadian TV shows suck? Like, this is customer service? Like, badgering me? Like,
They must
never use them again. I've never heard anybody talk about them ever again. Maybe they don't exist. Hopefully they don't.
They were building the relationship with you.
Yeah.
They were really trying to KYC. All right, moving on.
Yeah, 2 years ago, back 2017, I tried every way possible to get Bitcoin. And it started with Quadriga. And at the time, you could use this thing called flexpins, where you bought with, it's sort of like a redeemable voucher. So you buy the flexpin and then redeem the code for Litecoin or Bitcoin or whatever. I never actually withdrew from Quadriga just because I knew the challenges people were facing, but you could always move your crypto in and out. Most recently, I actually used Quadriga like 4 months ago, about 4 months ago, and the prices of Bitcoin was at a premium because people couldn't withdraw their cash from the site. So all the Bitcoin that was being sold on Quadriga was being sold at a premium. But then shortly after, they went down and so forth. But what I have been using is local Bitcoins, extremely reliable, extremely fast, and you're going to get your Bitcoins at a very cheap price. But I also use this one called Coinfield.
Coinfield?
Coinfield, yeah, they're a Canadian company as well. They actually just started. You can use, I believe, credit card or debit. Your only thing is that your withdrawal is 5 to 7 days. Crypto or fiat. So,
So if you want to do a transaction?
if you wanted to withdraw your crypto,
Yeah.
you would have to wait 5 to 7 days because their policy was that they don't want, like if the funds are being moved too fast, it could be a risk. So by holding the funds in the account for a set period, it reduces that.
So if you wanted to withdraw your Bitcoins, say to another
Wallet.
Bitcoin wallet, you got to wait 7 days?
Yeah, 5 to 7.
Okay. Yeah, that seems like could be an important factor to some people, right? Yeah, exactly, right?
I would like to add to the Coinbase that as soon as you transfer the funds and you buy your Bitcoin, you can take it out right away. The Bitcoin, you can transfer it to your wallet right away. There's no hold whatsoever.
Yeah, that's pretty much the case with most exchanges. I'm just trying to. Okay, I also found the coin field today. I have never heard of this before, and their website says they operate in 100 countries. They're based from Vancouver, and they have British pounds, United Arab, what's the drama, whatever they have there, and Canadian euro. So it looks like they operate in many countries, and they have quite a bit of different cryptocurrencies.
Another one too is Abra.
Abro.
Abra.
Abro.
ABRA, yeah, but they're not in Canada though. They don't operate with Canadian. Yeah, so I was actually looking at the Canadian exchanges since we're a Canadian meetup. So how the question is how you convert fiat to crypto, crypto to fiat. So if you have crypto and you want to trade, obviously none of the Canadian exchanges is the best place to do so. I'd say Binance probably one of the biggest exchanges, Binance Hobby. They have the deepest books, the most liquidity, so the best prices, and because of the volume and the size, they have the best security, I would say. Especially I like Binance because of their approach and philosophy. So even they were hacked, like I don't remember once or twice. However, they refunded all the. First of all, they were open from the very beginning. They were tweeting about what's happening, what they were doing, and they refunded everyone who was affected. And dealing with Binance, it's from the very beginning when you sign up, they just force you through the best security procedures, the two-factor authentication. You just can't have your account without 2FA. So that's the best thing that an exchange can do, in my opinion, because most of the exchanges, they don't do it. You need to find this 2FA somewhere if you actually know what you're doing. If you're just beginning, then what's 2FA? It's kind of a scary thing. Yeah, so what can we learn from all the experiences we have here? It's never keep your crypto on exchange. If you choose to buy your crypto from an exchange, a centralized exchange, just move the money, the fiat dollars, then buy crypto and move it out. If you want to trade somewhere else, where on a bigger exchange with higher liquidity, it only makes sense. And then move your coins out of there. And from my experience, or from my research, what I found, the biggest volumes are with Bitcoin anyway, on any exchange, on most of them. I don't know about every exchange out there, and usually most pairs on all of the exchanges, they're Bitcoin pairs. So you start with Bitcoin, so it makes sense to start with Bitcoin. You convert your fiat to Bitcoin, and then transfer it somewhere, and then you can trade to any other currencies, unless you have something something in mind. You're maybe a fan of XRP and just buy XRP and you hodl until it collapses. Well, you might as well keep your XRP on an exchange. No, don't keep anything on an exchange. And in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, but it's much safer to keep. If you have to keep anything on an exchange, keep fiat, because fiat is technically traceable. Even though the company can go bankrupt and you may lose your fiat, but then you have a chance to get your fiat back. With crypto, it's just gone, and there's no way you can. In the best case scenario, just like with Mt. Gox, you might be refunded with fiat at a price when Bitcoin was $400. And after that, if you know the story with Mt. Gox, after they paid all the debts to creditors, they ended up with something like $1 billion in profit, if I'm not mistaken. So I did some research and found a few exchanges in Canada. There are a lot of smaller exchanges where maybe you can try and see how they work. But a few of the biggest are, like the Quadriga was the biggest one, obviously, and we talked about it. So now it's closed and under the creditor protection. At the moment, they're trying to locate their cold wallets, but they cannot. Coinsquare is the Toronto-based exchange, and the recent news from last week, they laid off 40 people. However, a year ago, like maybe 15 months ago, we had one of their sales guy or one of their wealth directors. Everyone was a director. They had only 7 people. I think it was October or something. So they had only 7 people in October, and they grew to close to 200 people in 1 year. It's difficult to imagine how you manage and build the company at such a rate of growth, especially how you keep the security. So because a lot of the hacks or attacks on an exchange are coming from within the company, and every person can be compromised and compromise the exchange. But anyway, so what they say, they're the most regulated exchange in Canada, if not the world, and they're expanding pretty fast. So they went to the United States, they operate in Europe. Now they operate in Japan, and they had a plan to white label their services, so not to use their names in all over the world, basically, and that was their model. They are not the cheapest exchange. So there are different types of fees that you need to look at when you're looking at an exchange. So the trading fees and funding fees, transaction withdrawal and deposits. So the trading fees, there are two types of trading fees: maker and taker fees. So maker is when you create the depth of the book. You don't take the price that's on the market right away. Usually it's the cheaper fee. So on Coinsquare it's 0.1%. And the taker fee is when you just take the price that's right now available on the market. You narrow the books, and that's why the fees are normally bigger. Like that's the standard practice on all the exchanges, on most at least. So the taker fee on Coinsquare is 0.2%. So, and DEX has the lowest maker fee, which is 0. So you don't pay anything if you make the market. Coinsquare, however, has the most ways to fund your account. I don't think they're viable ways, because they are the only, well, at least that's what I found, exchange that accept credit cards. However, they charge 10% for the funding. And they withhold your money for 7 days until you can start trading. Then basically, what's the point of using your credit card to fund? It's expensive, and it takes a lot of time. So they use the flexpin, as you mentioned. Flexpin, they charge a 2.5% fee, but however, when you buy flexpin, you may buy flexpin like in 7-Eleven or like at a convenience store. Basically, it's just like a gift card. So you load the money there, and but when you buy it at a premium. So usually 10% already, if not more. So that every shop, I guess, can sell the flexpin at whatever price they want. However, this funding option is instant. But then I don't really know why you need to buy anything on an exchange. If you have to pay 10%, you can use the ATM, for example. they also charge 10%, sometimes even less. So interac, 2.5%, and they also have 3 days of holding of your money, and the processing time is 1 to 5 days, which is kind of weird because usually interac is 1 hour maximum in Canada of transaction time. They accept money order, bank drafts, or wires, though they also charge 2.5% for bank drafts, and they put a hold on this for 2 weeks, which is a lot. So I guess being the most compliant exchange has like its downsides. Another one is the Coinfield that I found. They charge more for like trading fees. It's 0.15 maker fees and 0.25, and this is almost the most expensive exchange. The Kraken charges a little bit more, but the Kraken has the sliding scale. So the more you trade, the less fees you pay. Kraken charges 0.16. It starts from 0.16 to maker and 0.26 taker fees. Coinfield, you can fund Coinfield with wire, and they charge 0.5%. 2 days processing and 3 days, 1 to 3 days with withholding. Interac, they charge 2% and no withholding whatsoever. They promise to deposit it within 1 day, sometimes less. And EFT, I'm not really sure what EFT. It's like direct bank deposit. I don't really know how it works. I googled EFT, like electronic fund transfer. Wire is an EFT. How is it different? I'm not even sure what they mean by EFT. Kraken fees. Fee schedule is very simple. So Kraken doesn't charge anything for depositing it, but there's only one way for Canadians to deposit. It's a wire transfer, which can take 1 to few days, usually 1 to 5 days. And withdrawal they charge 0.25%, and they would do the direct bank deposit. So on Index, an exchange that's sponsoring our meetup today, is from Alberta, as I say. They do not charge anything no fees for depositing, which is good, and they promise to deposit your interac transfer within up to 3 hours maximum, sometimes 0. Sometimes it's instant bank transfer, takes 1 to 7 days, and they don't withhold your funds for any number of any time. So it's just the processing time, and wire transfer is 1-2 days, what they say. So to withdraw, they charge the 25% fee if they do a direct bank deposit, and it takes. Sometimes they can do it on the same day, maximum 2 days, and the wire transfer, same thing, from 0 to 2 days, and the $50 deposit. Obviously, the wire transfer, they can transfer much more than the direct bank. One thing to remember if you decide to go through the centralized exchange, all of them, they require KYC, and some of them use, I guess all of them, they have to use the third-party services because of the regulation of how you keep the personal information. Normally, it's a lengthy process. I remember Kraken took, and it also depends on when you're trying to do. I guess in a bear market, there are a few people joining, so it can be quite fast. And when it was in 2017, everyone wanted to join, and sometimes it would take weeks. for exchanges to KYC. Now it's the best time to do so. However, you need to remember, like, do you really want to connect your identity to the coins that you're buying? And it's going to stay there forever. And the blockchain is forever, and all coins are traceable. So you have to assess the risks that you might be taking. Coinsquare has an interesting KYC process. I don't really know what they use, but they don't ask you to upload any documentation. I don't know if they connect to Equifax or anything else that's already KYC'd you, and they just pulled out the information from there, and it's pretty much instant. So it's quite convenient. Yeah.
You mentioned that if you do KYC, it will make it possible to connect you to your transactions on the blockchain. Now, in the mainstream world, your name is already connected to transactions on the database. And yes, I do understand some people like blockchain because it's anonymous. So what you're saying is by giving KYC to the exchange, you lose the ability to make your transactions anonymous. Am I correct, or is there some other risk that you're pointing out?
Normally, exchanges, well, they keep your information private, the KYC. Whatever they collect about you, they should keep it private and they don't disclose it to anyone. However, there are ways that they can be hacked and the information can get leaked. Or the governments can order the exchange to disclose this information. So this is how they may know that this is your identity, and exchange knows which Bitcoin address you use to withdraw your coins. And at that moment, your identity can be connected to the blockchain, and on the blockchain, all transactions are public. So it can go both ways. Like the government can start tracking you. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It can be both. It can be 10 years from now. It can be 50 years from now. Everything is stored on the blockchain, if the blockchain is still there in 50 years. Or if the information is leaked to the criminals or hackers, they can just try to you become a target for possible attacks.
Okay, so to be clear, in mainstream databases, if they hack you, there's a good chance that you will be reimbursed by the institution or the custodian of the database. But if the exchange, if a crypto exchange is hacked and the criminals steal your crypto, you will not be reimbursed. And so that's basically the difference between that risk and having your money in the mainstream. Am I correct? I need to clarify.
I'll clarify. I guess I understand the question. So we used to believe that our money is safe in the bank, and most of the time the bank takes care of the security. They keep your name, but they also keep your money, and they provide the security. And if someone steals the money from the bank, there's insurance that covers you, and basically for an attacker, it's very difficult to go to your home and steal your money. It's in the bank, so it's quite a lengthy procedure. With cryptocurrencies, you are responsible for the security of your funds, no one else. So you keep the private keys, you secure funds, and if someone knows that you keep the private keys, so you become the target for all sorts of attacks. That can be attacks like the remote attack through internet. They may try to hack your computer, or the physical attacks. If someone knows you have coins at home, they may just come and force you to transfer the coins to them. That's the difference. That's probably what most people don't really understand, like why it's important to keep the privacy when you're dealing, because it's a completely different paradigm. So.
Well, Yeah, I think. I mean, I know we've. This is, I think, one of the roles that maybe centralized exchange could play in the future is by providing those kind of safeguards to their clients. Like even insurance companies, I think the insurance industry has to catch up and understand the whole crypto space before they jump in. But
the problem with crypto, you cannot insure crypto because you cannot produce extra bitcoins if they're stolen.
no, you can't. But perhaps there's a way to secure it some other way. I mean, you could secure it with another cryptocurrency. I mean, those ones might be lost, but
Yeah, they can pay you back with fiat. That's
with fiat that you can then go and get back into the market with. But
well, maybe the best way is for banks to take over this function to keep
well, it
your
will give them
private
something
keys.
useful to do.
Yeah, but anyways, we are not there. We don't really know how it's going to be developing in the future. This is what's the situation right now, and centralized exchanges is one of the options how you can acquire cryptocurrency, but you need to go through the KYC process. That's the regulation. There are no other way with centralized exchanges. Yeah, and the next step that how you can secure yourself is when dealing with centralized exchanges, so more or less everything online, is a two-factor authentication. That's the thing. That's a one-time password that's generated on your mobile device. That's when you enable the two-factor authentication on an exchange. And actually, a lot of websites, they provide this extra security on Facebook or Gmail, Twitter. You can enable the two-factor authentication, and this way, if someone is trying to hack you, someone got your password, email and password, they need this one-time valid password, and usually it's only valid for 30 seconds. Every 30 seconds it is renewed in your phone, and you have 30 seconds to type it in the website, and then you are logged in. So that would increase the security of your account on an exchange tremendously. So if you keep any sorts of funds on an exchange, be it fiat or crypto, 2FA is the must, basically. It takes some time to understand how it works, but once you do it, it's pretty easy. Another thing, when you do the 2FA, to activate or to add the account to your phone, they will show you the QR code, or there's like a string of alphanumeric string. Please save it, because if you lose your phone, you won't be able to actually generate this one-time code, and it will create a lot of problems. Still possible to recover, but you will have to contact support, and it takes like a long time for the support to recover your two-factor authentication. So my advice, just to keep this alphanumeric, the string that generates the 2FA, somewhere else, and in the case you lose your phone, you can still recover your 2FA on a new device. So basically, when you decide what exchange you want to use, there are a few things that you might want to check, like the reputation. Just Google and see if it's a new exchange. There are a lot of new exchanges popping up. Some of them, they utilize the mistakes of the previous exchanges. And some of them might even be better because of the expertise and the knowledge that we've generated during these years. Just check if the reviews and what people say about those exchanges. Another thing to look at is the volume on an exchange, because if the exchange is new, the volume might be low and you might not be able to get the best price, or even to buy the amount of bitcoins that you want to acquire. Some of the exchanges have less than, I don't know, 10 bitcoins of the daily volume. Well, also depends on how much you want to buy, or sell in that case. So also I would try to go with a smaller amount first to see how the funds go in, how the funds go out, what's happening on an exchange, and the best rule: never keep your crypto on an exchange. Like, you did the trade, withdraw your crypto right away as soon as possible. Unless you're doing the day trading, but that's
It's a whole different show.
it's a whole different show. So, and another exchange I wanted to mention, already talked about Kraken. Kraken is one of the oldest in the market. So they started in the United States, and they operate in many countries in Europe and in Canada. So they're not the biggest by volume in Canada right now, like the pair Canadian dollar Bitcoin, for example. However, during the years, and I think they've been around for at least 5 years, if not 6, they have never been hacked. It's just one of those rare cases. And they add to the security procedures. I listened to the interview of the founder. He was describing that it's not only the software that has to be secure, but the attacks can be from within the company, from the compromising people, and they're adding more and more layers of security.
I hope so. I hope the CEO's trustworthy. Not like some exchanges. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the Kraken. Yeah, Kraken added the derivative. So they have derivatives. So if I don't know if you want to choose Kraken to trade derivatives, there is like the bigger exchange, which is BitMEX, the biggest, with lots of derivatives that will allow you to use leverage when you can have 1 Bitcoin deposited, but you can trade 100. I don't know why.
I just think the whole derivatives thing's crazy, but it's like betting on a hockey game.
Yeah, but the Kraken is developing. Like they just acquired something big yesterday. I didn't even read.
Something in London was $100 million. I don't know if it was an exchange or. Sorry, I couldn't add it to your
Yeah, I guess we are on the same page. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to say. Like, if you guys have any comments, I would like to hear what your experience, maybe how you.
Yeah, any comments or questions about centralized exchanges? Why not?
Here we have one here first.
No, I just want to say I used to trade on Mt. Gox in 2012, and I didn't have any issues. I think it was great. That was before all the bankruptcy.
Well, it was the only exchange in 2012.
Yeah, but I'm saying my experience was good, so nothing else I can add.
A lot of exchanges go down. Like there was an exchange, BTCE, founded by Russian guys, and the founder was arrested by FBI in Greece for money laundering accusations, and they shut down the entire exchange and confiscated all the fiat funds.
What happened to the bitcoins?
They refunded the remaining bitcoins at a rate of like 60% or like 56%, because they decided to split the losses between everyone. They kept all the crypto though. They changed the name. They were running for about a year, and not anymore. I stopped following, but I saw the news that they completely shut down.
Actually, I just before we wrap up here, I just does anybody have any idea about sort of the implications for the whole crypto space based on what's
Quadriga?
happened this week with Quadriga? Does anybody have any thoughts about that?
I think the regulations are coming of some sort. It's quite a social impact on
Yeah,
the
and
Canadian crypto market.
well, I mean, because what is it? Probably a lot of Canadians lost a lot of money.
250 millions. There were over 100,000 accounts.
Yeah, so that's 100,000 people that just lost a bunch of bitcoins.
Yes. Could you grab the mic?
I guess the best thing to take away is that, like you said, one, never leave your crypto on the exchanges. And the fact is, we know we're trading something that, A, we're not protected by anyone else by, aka the banks. And I think people need to understand that these assets, when you trade them or you own them, they're yours. And if you don't take those extra security measures or take precaution as to an exchange can shut down any day at any time, if you don't already accept those inherent risks, then you shouldn't be even in crypto.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with that.
Were you just taking the mic away from him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have someone up? Do you want to say something? Yeah. Okay, perfect.
So, how to make crypto to fiat in a decentralized exchange? How to do that?
There is a decentralized exchange that does that. It's called the BISC. It used to be called the Coinsquare. So they're completely decentralized. So you need to download a client on your computer. So then it works just like BitTorrent. So there are no central servers. It runs on the Tor network. So it's completely anonymous. And what they do, how you trade the fiat to Bitcoin. So it's not really an exchange in the traditional view. It's the book. There's no trading book there. Trade books. There are like a bunch of different offers that people, just like the Craigslist. It looks like an exchange, but basically the price discovery is pretty bad. So there are offers. I want to sell one Bitcoin at 5,000 Canadian dollars. Someone wants to sell like 0.15 at this price.
It's like local bitcoins
for this amount. Well, on local Bitcoin, you can negotiate like how much you want to buy. So it says that, well, okay, I have this maximum, but you can buy whatever you want. On BISC, there's no way you can communicate with
either got to say
the
yes
other
or no.
party. So how it works, if you decide to accept the offer, the Bitcoins go to a smart contract with 2 signatures out of 3. And the seller of Bitcoin discloses the banking information for the buyer. So there are different options how you can send money. Most of the time it's a wire transfer, or like in Canada it's e-transfer, something that's irreversible. So people don't accept credit cards or PayPal. And after you transfer the money to the bank account, you sign your part of the transaction. So when the seller receives the money, they put the second signature and release the Bitcoin to you. If one of the parties is trying to cheat, then there is an option to invite the arbiter, or someone who's going to assess all the documents and sign the transaction to one way or another. So obviously they charge an extra fee for arbitration. Well, they kind of upgraded a lot lately. The interface looks pretty neat. They have a lot of crypto inside. And they added recently the Mimble-Wimble cryptocurrencies, which is Green and Beam. And if you trade crypto to crypto, it's much easier. I don't know if you need to. Probably you need to involve the arbiter anyway. Yeah, just check it out. It's called BISQ, BISQ.
It's like the lobster without the E on the end.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Any final comments?
Oh, yes, that.
You just had the mic a minute ago, and now you need it back.
I think it's just going to drive more and more traffic to DEX, and DEX becomes easier and easier to use. Gun Waves or Jack's Liberty, you just exchange your coins for coins. If you can find a way to get fiat there without going KYC with whoever, and then it just seems to be advancing. Like I just saw today, there's a company called Total, Totle, which is going to be like Trivago for DEX. So they're a DEX, and you go there to initiate a trade, and they connect to all the other DEXs and find the best rate, or sometimes you're looking for the fastest trade, maybe not the lowest rate, and that's kind of like a game changer in the DEX space.
I think we should go to the direction of DEX. However, the fiat to crypto is still a problem on the DEX, and next Tuesday I will be talking about the different decentralized exchanges. So do some research and see what the differences are for the decentralized exchanges. But still, I don't see the easy way of fiat to crypto and crypto to fiat. Well, I have actually an idea which is not implemented. If it goes through the stable coins, if Tether or anything that's stable, if the ATMs right now, you can go fiat to crypto quite easy and fast. However, they charge like 10% on average. It's because of the Bitcoin volatility. If they start selling stable coins, so there's no volatility risks, so they can charge less, or even like a small fee, like all the ATMs, they charge you $3 for whatever amount you want to withdraw or so they can charge that, and then when you have already the stable coin, it's crypto to crypto. So you can go to DEX and exchange to Bitcoin or whatever you want. So maybe that's the best way to go right now. Yes.
The fiat to crypto activity in Canada, like last year I was working for a startup and we were thinking of having an exchange, and we have learned from research that fiat to crypto and crypto to fiat is actually a regulated activity. You actually need a license to do that legally in Canada, which is why all these exchanges that do it, when you send money to an exchange, they need a money service business, whatever license, right?
I would assume so, yeah.
And those people in local Bitcoins that are doing it, they're all doing it unofficially because they don't have a license to take your money and give you Bitcoin. So therefore, because you need a license to do this, any platform in the future, whether it's even in the centralized exchange, is going to need to get a license if they want to give you some method of converting fiat to crypto. And that's the reason why that part, yes, that is the weakest link. It's the first and the last mile, and that's the one that is the most regulated, which is why right now it's informal, it's P2P, whatever.
Yeah, it's the only regulated mile, the fiat transactions. So crypto transactions are not regulated yet.
Well, maybe there'll be a day when we don't need fiat anymore.
The mic, can we get the mic back?
I think you just hit the nail on the head right there, saying we don't even need fiat. And that's the whole thing, is that we shouldn't have to be going back and forth between fiat and crypto to fiat. And another big issue is the fact that no one's getting paid in crypto, not necessarily here. Like I know in Japan, they pay people's salary, parts of it in Bitcoin, which makes sense because you need to earn crypto somehow to have the ecosystem run. Mm-hmm. And if you only Like if all you're making is fiat, and then that means you have to convert it to crypto and so on and so forth. But if you're earning crypto through salary or whatever, you can skip that whole process and then just trade your crypto directly. So the end-to-end solutions need to improve, and people need to start earning crypto so they spend it and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and I think early adopters in crypto understand that it's they're enthusiastic because they like it as a better currency system than fiat, and so I think we're still in the transitional stages.
Yeah, but unless you live in Venezuela, your economy is probably running on fiat. So if we were to transition to crypto someday, there's still going to be the transition period where people use both crypto and fiat. And right now it seems like most people, they use fiat. So we are still in the very beginning of transitioning, if that's happening.
Although that transition could happen very quickly. I think there's people that look at it from an economic standpoint, understand inherent weaknesses and vulnerabilities of the fiat currency system, are concerned about how, if there's ever a problem with it, that we can get off it quickly. And now we have the whole crypto thing that's already in place. So in a sense, it's a big insurance policy for having a crash of fiat currencies based on mismanagement by the centralized authorities that have mismanaged it.
Yeah, but another problem is the volatility of crypto. So who wants to get paid in crypto if it's going to drop 70%?
But if you're getting paid in a stable coin,
yeah, that would work. Yeah, absolutely.
or just convert your crypto instantly. So if you get paid in Bitcoin, for example, no one's saying you can't then convert that to Tether and so on.
Stable coins I think that's the best transition to stable coins, because they're already in the crypto world. I think of the stable coins as kind of the lightning network for fiat. So it's still fiat, they're still centralized, but they allow you to move the money and program the money just like crypto. Anyone else?
Okay, any final thoughts? Somebody's getting a call. Ralph! Okay, so yes. Okay, so if that's nothing else, then let's say thanks everybody for participating in this great conversation.
And I got the message to Avet. He was late, so we got the sponsor today. It's an exchange, a new exchange from Calgary. It's called Index, NDAX.io, and they don't charge you for depositing funds. I think the Kraken is another exchange that allows that, and they promise the fastest deposit, no holdings, no holds on your funds, and the fastest withdrawal.
Okay, great. Shall we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks everyone for participating, for coming out tonight. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Online, we'll be back next Tuesday for more
Decentralized exchanges.
Yeah, tonight was centralized, next week decentralized.
And if you guys want the video production of any sorts for that channel,
yeah, thanks Dennis. Yeah, if you want to start your own TV show, this is where you can do it.
or another crypto meetup,
Another crypto meetup?
there's not enough crypto meetups.
That's
Never.
right. We'll even do another crypto meetup. Come and talk to Dee after the show. Okay, thanks everybody. We'll see you next
Thank you.
week.
And if you guys want the video production of any sorts for that channel,
Yeah, thanks Dennis. Yeah, if you want to start your own TV show, this is where you can do it.
or another crypto meetup,
Another crypto